Just be very loud.
We can just pass one.
I can be loud.
Yeah, the door was open and the lights were on. It was all on. I thought you'd take care of that. Can you ask someone to be quiet?
Yeah, I know, right? They're pretty loud. Don't they realize they're serious stuff going on?
We are now.
Now they can hear us.
Can you hear us?
They're kids.
Let's not right now. So we know why there's a media room key stuck in the door over there, and the door was left open. I didn't see it all. Okay. Look at that, 6 p.m. I'd like to call the Mchenry Township Special Board Meeting for July 6th to order and pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. And we will start with a roll call.
Trustees, Rapido. Here. Bendemeyer.
Here.
Yeager. Here. Supervisor Barla.
Here.
All present.
Any public comments? I don't see any public comments. New business. Item 3, just kind of a quick explanation. We are here for interviews of the open trustee position. It's working. We're here for the interviews of the applicants for the vacant trustee position. We'll have one this evening. Mr. Adam Shaver, who was willing to come out this evening, shall I say. And our second one, we will have to continue this meeting to tomorrow night at 6 p.m. for our second. The second person, will not be able to be here until tomorrow. So with that, I guess I'll open the floor up to the board to ask questions regarding Adam.
The one comment I will add was at the Republican Township Central Committee, but Mr. Shaver was a perfect candidate.
Okay. Do you have any further questions for him?
Well, we went this 6 months ago, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'm convinced he can go with the township names, what the township's about. Anyone else take over?
I have a question.
Sure.
We recently met at a meeting in Johnsburg regarding the water condition.
Yes, sir.
Tell me a little bit about what you did and how you pulled that together, the information that you brought along and shared during the meeting.
Sure. So,
Yeah.
Three, three, one, Mark.
Yeah, there you go.
okay, I think that works. So, as I discussed when I applied for the township trustee position in October, My wife and I, about 5 years ago, started the Facebook group that is called What's Going On Johnsburg, specific to our area, obviously. And since that page has grown to about 4,000 members, so more than what we have currently living, I think, in the town. A lot of people that grew up there, went to school here, work here, so anybody that meets those kind of criteria or lives here currently can join. And so over the last 5 years, you know, my wife and I moved here in 2016. We obviously I had worked previously at the Chase of Johnsburg, but I didn't know a lot about the community itself and what like residents experience. And so one of the things that we noticed very quickly was on certain days of the week or at certain times of the year, the water quality was kind of subpar. We would have brown water coming out the faucet, there was lots of sediment, there was an odor to it a lot of times. And you know, we knew that when we moved to the area, it was a community well. You know, there's not much more information about that you can find when you're purchasing a house that's available through your realtor or online. So at the time, we didn't really think a whole lot of it. And so after we started the What's Going On Johnsburg page, I would say over the course of the first couple of years, on almost a weekly basis, someone would post a picture of the water straight out of their tap that was dirty brown color, it was just nasty. And that was one issue. Other issues were just constant water hardness. There's constant water issues with you know, regard to boil orders and possible contamination issues. And so, you know, we sort of just watched people post these comments without having known a lot about it ourselves. And in 2018, at the time, Utilities Inc. proposed a water rate increase, and we attended that meeting, and there were, I think, 300 or 400 residents. 300 or 400 residents that attended with, at the time, the president of Utilities Inc. and a bunch of people from Utilities Inc. And that meeting was basically for them just to come tell the community how wonderful they were. They heard what people had to say, but nothing happened. And some of the key issues that they identified were water quality, the cost of the water service, and the reason they held that meeting at that time was there was a proposed rate increase. And whatever politician at the time requested the meeting was really just, I think, to pacify that request. So nothing happened then. Flash to like about October last year when the township trustee position was open. I think that was when Utilities Inc. notified everybody that they were going to be seeking another rate increase, also seeking to change their name to Prairie Path. And as has always happened, the village expressed disconcern for the rate increase, but really it was basically just, oh, the ICC allowed the increase, so we're going to move forward. I think that set off something within some of the people on the group, and we began to see daily posts about complaints about the water quality, complaints about the cost, and when January came and the rate increase happened, it was a substantial, I don't know if any of you guys have Utilities Inc. as your water supplier, but it was a substantial increase, a 47% increase in cost. And that is all the while they have never answered the questions about the water quality or the issues that people had. So I communicated, I believe at the time, with Pam Alkoff, and she had communicated then with Representative Wright, who requested a meeting with the water company. And I want to say, Gary, was that like the beginning of May that meeting happened?
I believe so.
So Prairie Path hosted a community meeting at the community center in Johnsburg. And they showed up with what I would liken to like a trade show. They had booths set up where people could just go and talk about their bill or question about their area. And we're not ready to answer any questions from any of the residents. Assuming that that was sort of the way that things were going to go, my wife and I hosted like a residents only, I don't want to call it a forum, but we just wanted to get people together so that going into the group meeting with Prairie Path, we had a more concise message. We didn't have just a bunch of people standing up and complaining and yelling at them, because that's obviously not positive and not going to make any headway or traction. And I think we had about 15 people that showed up to that meeting, all that brought utility bills, more pictures of their water issues, complaints, copies of complaints and letters that they had sent. So I took all that information and conglomerated it, and for that group of people volunteered to stand up at that Prairie Path meeting and just speak on their behalf, and in addition to my own behalf, so that we weren't all just standing up saying the same thing. I think that meeting had some positive outcomes, but, and if you were there, Gary, obviously, like, there were people just standing up kind of belligerent and really not making a positive sort of attempt to fix the situation. So after that meeting, I continued conversation with Pam Altoff, and actually just a couple weeks ago, Pam was successful in getting a meeting scheduled again with myself and 3 other residents. I don't have the names in front of me, along with the village president and some of the village staff, as well as the president of Prairie Path and a couple of employees of Prairie Path, like their engineer, the local area manager, and actually I think we made some major headway. They won't admit to it, but I feel that based on the complaints that came up at the last meeting, they had the overall community, I believe what they said was they inspected 2 water towers and found a large amount of sediment, and are now miraculously increasing their inspection time frame of those water towers, and have agreed to a host of other sort of things that will allow them to more effectively communicate with the community what's going on with different areas of the system, improvements that they're making, and should hopefully start to address some of the water quality issues. And that's going to be something that they're doing a big engineering study that's supposed to conclude at the end of this year. And we have a tentative meeting scheduled for January with that same group again, so that we can hopefully find out what their plans are. Obviously, the things they find will be cost prohibitive.
Sure.
But what, and there were other things that came up in the meeting, obviously, that are still problems, like the fact that Illinois allows private utility companies to make a profit on our water bills, but that's there. So yeah, so I got involved with that and leveraged the group that we had to just get the additional data to make an informed sort of complaint versus it just being thoughts and feelings. And this is what I've experienced myself. We have data from 20 people. I took the utility bills from these 20 people, and it's been a 100% rate increase over the last 5 years. Yes. Consistent across the board. So there's really not a lot they can do to discredit that data.
So are there other activities similar to that you're taking on yourself, not participating in any organizations, formal organizations?
My wife and I last year had decided that we would like to maybe sponsor or organize some type of farmers market in downtown Johnsburg. But at that time then, we were successfully able to get pregnant after about 3 years of trying, and that sort of put the brakes on more of the community involvement that we'd like to do. We just actually had twins in May. So
congratulations. Thank you.
So not aside from the water activity, nothing specific other than just hosting the group that we do in managing Facebook group.
I guess my question would be, another question would be, just refresh my memory as to why you want to get involved in township government specifically.
So we live in an unincorporated area of Mchenry County. Really our only representation at that level is township or county. There's a lot that the village does to, address issues like the water thing, like for a large area of their, town, they're helping this, but too many people just complain and say they don't like the way that things are, but don't take any action. I mean, obviously you can see I'm the only one that came today. Yep. So I would imagine that a lot of the meetings that you guys have probably are similar. I think it's very easy anymore to just post stuff online and say that you're unhappy with things, but it takes more effort to actually make a change.
There was a time this year was bad with people, like the previous board.
Yeah, they were doing.
Did you participate, or did you come to any meetings with the prior administration?
I did. Actually, so I guess there was other involvement. So one of the things that I voiced strong. just concern for was the removal of the senior bus service when that previous board was in place, and did make posts almost daily on the Johnsburg group about that. I did come to, I think, 3 or 4 of the board meetings, and was happy to see the regime change.
Michelle, do you have anything specifically for you?
Obviously, the prior board took away quite a few things, and I'm still learning. Of the programs that are not currently active, what would you like to see brought back? Besides, obviously, the bus service, which we're all very happy it came
Yeah,
back.
the bus service was great. I think the community garden thing you guys done recently is really cool. I don't know. I think there's a lot of area of opportunity for us to improve the community. I don't know anything specific off the top of my head that I would recommend, but I know we have the parks and stuff. I think one of the things I've seen going through other communities is like I think of Lake in the Hills. They have a dog park and a skate park and other stuff. And I know we have the dog park right here in Mchenry, but I think they have multiple. So like maybe even just more places for people to get out and enjoy, be outside and do things. I think we've all been heated up for the last couple of years. So I'm a big fan of playing outside and doing stuff. But yeah, I think there's lots of opportunity.
Mark, do you have anything?
From what you know about us, how would you be able to add something different to the board, contribute something more?
Sure. I think first and foremost, one of the things I mentioned was the what's going on Johnsburg group. I think digitally and social media standpoint, the township can have a bigger presence to hopefully bolster meeting attendance, maybe get more people involved. Michelle, to your point, if there are other programs or maybe a survey that goes out or something, ask people what they would like to see from the township, other ways to get people involved, maybe something that interests them and want to get involved. So I think having that presence and the ability to leverage that sort of process for the township would be good. In my profession, I'm also very skilled at negotiating contracts and pricing and very analytical. So anything in terms of I'm not an accountant, but anything in terms of like negotiating with vendors or pricing issues, I'm very good at that. I have my semi-annual fights with Comcast as well. That's really exciting. So I think I just bring a lot from both my professional and my personal experience. That would be.
Thank you.
Is there anything you want us to know that's not within the paperwork you provided or what you've said so far?
I know one of the requirements is obviously that I'm a Republican, so I'm here. Staunch supporter of the Second Amendment. I know that that's getting hammered right now with obviously the tragedy that just happened over the weekend, which is terrible. I know Mchenry Township is a big supporter of the Second Amendment. It's a sanctuary township or community. I don't remember how exactly it was phrased. But I think personally, I am a firm believer that the Constitution is what we should follow and shouldn't be infringed. So as far as that goes, totally aligned with the board. That would be the main thing. I think is just think I'm at the same things, very much the same way.
I don't have anything else. I remember his previous interview.
Present to somebody. Let's say you had mentioned that people see things that are wrong and don't do anything right. They just sit back and complain about it. What if there was something that seemed there's nothing that you could do about it? Would you still proceed, or how would you feel?
I would say so. I mean, I look back. I know I already mentioned it, but I look at this water situation. It's not like I can go select a different water company. I can't tell them to just drop my rate. I've complained about the cost at every meeting I've been involved with them, and that's likely not to change. But it's not stopping me from voicing my concern and other people from voicing their concerns. I don't think there's nothing in any of our daily lives that's completely set in stone. So you don't know unless you ask, right? Or multiple times.
One other thing, let's say a vote comes up, your decision is no. There's 3 yeses from the other board members. Would you let that in any way, shape, or form influence your original decision of no?
I find them pretty level-headed and objective. So if someone can show me data and support, like, and I encounter this every day in my job. I'll say, like, people come to me at work and say, hey, this is what we think we should do. Do you agree? Do you approve? And I have to say yes or no. So I ask them, give me the data, give me the reasoning, what's the context of what's happening in the situation. And I use that to make sort of my own decision. If they're able to present data that, well, if I make a decision and someone's able to present the data that shows that what they're saying makes sense, I'll obviously consider it and listen to it. But I think that very much like, I wouldn't be swayed, it would take concrete information to make me.
Okay, but all of that information would have been before the vote took place. So at that point, you've heard all that information, you thought no, and there's 4 yeses. Would you hold fast to that no, or would you let it sway the decision?
I guess I'm saying that it's very easy to say now, like, what I think I would do. I think depending on the situation, I would likely keep my initial sort of standing if all the information had been presented. In the light that it wasn't, I can see that changing it, but.
How do you feel about Trump?
Voted for him. I know a lot of stuff has happened since then.
But how do you feel about him now?
I'd probably vote for him again.
Thank you. And what do you think that you could add to the township?
How do you mean?
You just answer that question.
I'll just use that. That's all.
I get one more comment, and I'm not turning the other way, because I know it's coming up in the future. How do you feel about raising taxes?
Raising taxes?
Let's say you had a really provide a service, and you had to raise taxes to make it work.
That's hard. So I just finished, again, because I'm like weird and analytical, I just finished trying to set up my budget for next year. I looked back at our taxes since we moved in. Being that I'm in an unincorporated area, the taxes are a little bit lower maybe than some of the surrounding areas because I'm not paying for the village. But since we moved in, I think my taxes have gone up $1,000. 6 years, 5 years. Others have not been as fortunate. So through my own lens, looking at my own situation, I guess it would depend on what the taxes need to be increased for. And it was something that I believed in and something I felt was good for the community. I would consider it, but like the selfish, like consumer me is always like, no more taxes. But I mean, sometimes it would be a necessity. But unless it's a necessity, I would take it.
The thing that I guess, the comment for myself is that the biggest thing that you bring to the board is your personal life and how it is affected by what we do. And to have that input from 4 different people, 5 different people, 6 different people is key in trying to meld together what a go-forward plan looks like. I will say that I like the question about surveys. I believe data collection is vital. The first thing we would have to do in the township to do that is develop a tool on how to collect the email addresses or cell phone numbers to which you can do emails.
Already with property taxes.
Yeah, is it?
I think, my email is on the property taxes.
Okay.
Well, obviously, there will be
so I did not realize that database exists already, and that obviously I could go either the county or the assessor you should be able to draw that information out for all the properties within the township, and we should be able to develop some sort of communication to it. That goes back to the old printed newsletter. We should do an electronic or a digital newsletter again, and partnering with those folks that use our property on a regular basis, whether it be soccer, as we have next door tonight, food pantry, senior services, Catholic Charities that does Meals on Wheels essentially in northern Illinois. We do need to do some more communicating about what the taxpayers already own. I agree with that. And I think that's the biggest thing that I see that we need to do as a board is communicate and figure out exactly what the township wants to see. And they spoke very loudly with the senior services, or with the senior bus service. So you have to find the right cause and make good money, of course. Anything else? Any questions for us? Fire away. You got it.
I guess I would ask about the property tax increase. Like what are we not aware of yet that's coming down the pipe? Also, property tax.
I'll answer it this way. The previous board just took a knife and just sliced it. So we're running on a shoestring budget. There's what I would refer to as limited funds for a rainy day. Meaning that if we were to have a huge lightning storm come through and have flooding along the river, we as a township don't have emergency funds available to be able to go and build buy sand and sandbags and do all of that. All of those types of planning activities have ceased, and we're solely focused on day-to-day activities, and we need to get ahead of the curve again a little bit and plan for the future. And I'll say planning for the future includes electronic infrastructure to be more efficient in doing what we do, communication, all of those things. That's what's bouncing around in my head. So those would be the things that would come before you if you were a trustee, and what the plans that when I'm charged with developing and bringing to you to try to get the funding. It's a two-way street too. You have to bring ideas the other way also. Well, if we have no more questions, I'll move on to the next candidate will be tomorrow night. What I'll do is move on to old business. I don't think we have any old business. No? Any need for executive session this evening? Okay, well then, if you guys want to do it, why don't you make a motion?
I make a motion to go executive session.
John McCredo is going to make a motion to go into executive session. Who's going to second? Michelle. And we're going into executive session to discuss, I don't have the specific IL number in front of me, but it's obviously related to the township trustee replacement. And then, so all those in favor of going to, is that a roll call? All those in favor of going into executive session, say aye. Any nays? There being no nays, the motion carries. We'll go into executive session this meeting is adjourned at 6:28 p.m. Moving to executive session. We shall return.
the other side.
Thank you again.
Bring the temperature down because it's too hot over there.
I guess I'll reopen the July 6, 2022 special board meeting at 6:38 p.m. If we can get a roll call. Okay. Moving on to board member comments. Having none, take a motion for adjourn. Well, the motion to continue until tomorrow at 6 p.m., which is July 7th. 7/7/2022 at 6 p.m. I'll make the motion. Anybody want a second?
Second it.
So I made the motion. John seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No nays. Ayes have it. Motion is there. The meeting is adjourned. At 6:30.
I'm sure you understand when you talk, Richard.
What's that?
I'm sure you understand when you talk, Richard.
Of course. Yeah, what did you say it was the central Mchenry GOP or? Because